At the New Jersey SBDC Network, our mission is simple: to help businesses grow and succeed. Our consulting, training, and information services make it easier for businesses to reach their potential. Whether you're currently in operation or just starting out, we have the right tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. Visit us online to get started on your path to success today.
Okay, so a pleasant good afternoon to everyone. My name is Takoa Bell. I am an event coordinator for the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark. And on behalf of Dr. Tendai Ndoro, our regional director, we would like to welcome you all to our How to Identify You've Been Hacked webinar. For those of you here that are unfamiliar with the SBDC, it stands for Small Business Development Centers. And here at the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers at Rutgers-Newark, we serve as the premier provider of business training and technical assistance services to establish small businesses, startups, and as well as to entrepreneurs. We are one of 12 centers in the NJSBDC network, and we service those in Essex County. Our center here is hosted by the Rutgers Business School and funded through a public-private partnership agreement between the Small Business Administration, Rutgers University, and the New Jersey Business Action Center. Our mission here is to help entrepreneurs as well as business owners start and grow sustainable, successful businesses through the delivery of one-on-one business consulting, training, and technical assistance programs. Now, these services are provided to you at no cost and are paid for by your tax dollars. If you or your business is located in Essex County, our website is www.rnsbdc.com, where you can request counseling by clicking on that button on the top right-hand corner of our website. So once you click on that button, it will lead you to fill out some information about your business or your potential business, including the help you may be seeking. And within 24 to 48 business hours, a consultant will reach out to you for an assessment. And for those of you here that are not in Essex County, our headquarters website is www.njsbdc.com. And on that website, you can type in your county and it will refer you to your local SBDC office. Now, for the benefit of everyone attending today's webinar, we will be taking questions via the Q&A feature here on Zoom. We also will give everyone the ability to unmute themselves and ask your question, and feel free to interact as well. We would like to make this an interactive webinar, so again, feel free to participate and post your questions, and we will do our best to respond during or at the end of today's webinar. A copy of the presentation slides, along with a video recording of this webinar, will be emailed to you within 48 to 72 business hours, so that you can refer to all of this information long after the end of the webinar. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you all our presenter for today's webinar, Nalit Patel. Nalit is the CEO and founder of All Solutions and an SBDC consultant here at the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark in the areas of IT and data center infrastructure, cloud computing, disaster recovery, and business continuity. And now, without further ado, I will turn today's webinar over to Nalit and Harry.
Takeo, thank you very much for having us and doing that excellent introduction. This is a very hot topic, and all the people that need help, we are over here to share our expertise and guidance. What we would like to do is something different in today's format. If we can get a little bit information about each participant, who they are, what they're doing, and what they're trying to accomplish, we can try and engage our presentation appropriately. So, ladies and gentlemen, whoever wants to begin with, introduce yourself, say your name, and give us an introduction in less than a minute. Deborah, you want to go first? Takeo, can they unmute themselves?
Yes, feel free to unmute yourself and give us a little bit of information about you. Everyone has the ability to unmute themselves now.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hi, who is this?
This is Dr. Linda Wolf speaking.
Hi, Dr. Wolf, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Nani. It's good to see your picture, and I'm
Thank you.
anxious to hear your presentation. I am managing a grant to develop a small business support center in Cape May County, New Jersey, working with the community college, the county, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And one of the things that some of my clients, prospective clients, have been talking about is ransomware, and it is about getting held captive because of an email hack. And I
Yes.
thought it would be useful for me to listen to what you have to say, so I might direct them to resources or give them some guidance.
Absolutely, Dr. Wolf. That's a great segue. Diane, you want to introduce yourself? Oh. Sean, if you want to take a lead and introduce yourself. Anyhow, I think some people are shy and not introducing themselves. We will leave it at that. Let's begin with a simple Q&A. How many people over here are familiar with what ransomware is and how to protect yourself? We want to make this an interactive presentation. That is why we're asking these questions.
Sure,
Only
guys,
familiar
this
with
is
the
Harry.
concept.
They can chat, they can answer in a chat message. So please go ahead and chat if you like to, please.
Okay. We are seeing no response. So, okay. Dennis Williams, no, not familiar. Excellent. Shirley, I know that's a challenge of all times. Excellent. Sean, you coming from technology services, what do you think is the current challenge that is going on? Would you like to share a couple of things? Okay, wonderful. We see some responses and we will continue our presentation. So can everybody see my screen?
No, let me go ahead and stop my
No.
share and feel free
Oh.
to share, Nalid.
Yes.
Okay.
What is going on? It's hard to.
Can you see my screen? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to begin with, when you leave your house, when you leave your car, why do you lock your car? Or why do you lock your home? Or why do you lock your cell phone?
Protect
Anybody
the
want-
contents.
I'm sorry?
To protect the contents.
Excellent. And why do you want to protect the contents?
Because you don't want them to steal it.
Ha 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 ha. You don't want anybody to steal it, and you want to make sure that everything that belongs to you stays with you and people don't run away. And if they steal, it's a loss to everybody.
Yep.
Okay?
Mhm.
Excellent. So, in order to protect yourself from ransomware, you're going to do similar things. And let me take a moment and hand it over to Harry. Harry, jump in and let's talk about this, how to identify yourself if you have been hacked. Harry, you have the card.
Thank you, Nalet. Hello, everyone. My name is Harry Mehra. I work with All Solutions in SPDC, and we are here to help you out in how to identify and detect if you've been hacked. So if you move to the next slide. Already.
I'm sorry,
so
can you
now-
also full screen the presentation, please? Just so we can all see it better. Great,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, so the easiest way would be to see if you have been identified was if you observe anything which is unusual, you see your mouse
Sorry,
constantly.
sorry.
So if you see Nalit's machine is already hacked, his mouse is already moving everywhere. So guys,
You know, I'm telling you,
this is the perfect example to this.
gotta pay attention.
Yeah, we got hacked already. So, all right. So going back to the topic, so yes, when you see suddenly your mouse is moving, something automatically identified and selected without your notice. That's how you will really know that you have been hacked. You start getting emails from everybody you didn't expect. You start getting phone calls trying to sell you something or trying to tell you the password is expired or they need your credit card information. These are the signs you should be looking at and possibly just start making sure that now it is the point time to revisit all the security settings of your desktops, of your laptops, your phones, your WhatsApps, your iChats, and every single thing that you have part of, right? So questions we have here: how often should you change a password, and do you save your password in the browser? So if anybody would like to give an answer, otherwise we'll continue. The question number one is: how often should you change a password?
Anybody want to take a chance? How many people have changed their password, which can be guessed by a third party in less than 30 minutes, which would be your family name, your kid's name, your place where you live, your favorite color, whatever. Passwords should be changed every 30 days. You should take you should define and take a process. Password should have upper letter, lower letter, special character, no identifiable information, and create something unique. Uh, the new trend that is happening is also passphrases. So instead of putting a password, you can put passphrases, which will make it difficult for people to identify. And you should do this across your entire platform, which could be your email, which could be your mobile banking, which could be your banking information, which could be your credit card, car payment, mortgage payment, whatever you might be doing. You change the passwords everywhere. Harry, please continue.
Sure. So Sean, you did mention, thank you for updating information on the chat. 2 to 3 months. Yes, that's a great opportunity to change within that time frame. We do recommend doing it a little sooner. 30 days, as Dalit was saying, we should recommend people to change password almost within 30 days. Now, Dalit also did mention about the passphrases. The most common passphrases which I've seen is, "Oh, I forgot my password," with exclamation, with O and hyper ones and angry faces and angry characters. So that way it becomes a phrase, and you have a very passwords as well. So hopefully somebody got an idea to create some funny passwords, make things lighten up, and also keep your information safe and secure. Let's move to the next slide.
Not a code.
All right, so here we are discussing about the facts and reports. You should be really getting information from all the news channels and everywhere. Cybersecurity ransomware threats are very common, and it is predominantly rising at a phenomenal rate. As you can see right now, more than 4 billion records been expected, which have been breached within time frame of a few years. And if you notice, there are 1 billion plain text passwords. So every time you send a password to your browser, to your email, there are people who are snooping in your information and scanning the plain text passwords. And 50 million password leaks are result of a recent breach, which is very recent. If you subscribe to any recent activity from news, 500 million passwords were leaked recently within Facebook, Office 365, Google, and many other very known, powerful platforms as well. Now, let back to you for the next slides.
Sure. So let me ask you another question. When you lock your home, you lock two things. You have a deadbolt and you have a key. Why do you use the two things to lock your home? Does anybody want to jump in and either put the answer in the chat or unmute themselves and talk about it?
Because if one doesn't work, you have to have the other one as a backup.
Excellent answer. So if you do that, it will, when you do the two-way locking, if somebody breaks through one, they may have a difficult time in breaking through the other. Similarly, within the technology industry, there is a term which is called two-factor authentication. So if you establish your credentialing, your emails, your passwords, and everything else with two-factor authentication, what it'll do is you can put in something at a place, it'll send you a token. Unless you put the token, you cannot move forward. And usually that is done to your mobile device. So you can sign up with whatever service and you get the two-factor authentication. This is to help and deter in an event if you get hacked. It will protect you from that perspective. Harry?
Sure, thank you. So as we hear, the big names, big corporations also getting hacked. Not even businesses like you and I, but also the bigger organizations which are constantly being hacked. There's three recent breaches which are highlighted here. The home and small businesses, easy firewall, the firewall, which is easily available, very economically priced, Zyxel, that was hacked recently. A few months ago, the firewall company called Netgear, and even the Sonic Wall, the company which is much more stronger, and Cisco were also had some traces of hack in the firewall as well. If you see the reasons of being hacked, everybody who configured the firewall, they kept the default password. The default password was either admin username, password admin, or username admin password 123456. And nobody ever changed the password, considered nothing would ever happen. And then now you go and they were hacked. So we do recommend that you should really change the default password of all the devices you buy and make sure they are not ever available for anybody to get and snoop into your information. And now we do have links available for RNC, Russian ransomware attack, and even the Kaseya. Kaseya is known to be the recent hack, which has been constantly been under news channels. There is a software service company which used to provide, which is still providing remote management to the desktops and automation to servers and keeping them safe and secure. Unfortunately, that got hacked as well, and that led to a lot of ransomwares to small companies and the big, large organizations as well. So if anybody is more interested, the presentation would have the links. You can always click, and it'll take you the whole full article there itself. So going to the next slide, please.
Before we go to the next slide, anybody has any questions so far?
Sean has been active. Yes, Sean, yes, discouraging attempts. That's a great answer. So now that Sean has answered your question to discourage your attempts. So thank you, Sean, for your participation.
Thank you. Hackers use something which is called the brute force. Let me walk you through an example. So people like to share their life story on Facebook, Instagram, and whatever other tools may out be there. Over the long weekend, I guarantee you, many people posted on their Facebook, we are taking a vacation over here, we are going to the beach, we are doing this, we are doing that. What are you advertising to the world? You're telling the world, I'm open, we are not at home, somebody can come and break into it and do whatever they need to do. So anybody that wants to come to your place and break in can use a brute force and come in. Similarly, within the digital universe, hackers use what you call as brute force. They will try to figure out something about you and then try to make multiple attempts. It could be your kid's birthday, it could be your kid's, your marriage anniversary, your date of birth, your town you live in, or the place where you grew up, whatever. They'll try to do several combinations, and a lot of this is done by automated tools that allow them to hack in and do it. So hackers also use brute force, how somebody would break into your home or into your car and do the damage that they need to do. Okay, Harry, next one is yours.
Okay, so Nala did mention about the brute force. Now, what happens if somebody does not find information which is very pertaining to you, and they will not be able to go through the brute force? The easiest way to sabotage your operation is something we call denial of service. It means that would mean that if somebody keeps on asking for the password, and your job is to keep on telling that no, that's not right, or guess it again. Now you as a person, or your router, or your firewall, or your software, or the virus is constantly busy telling somebody that, oh, that's wrong, oh, that's not right, and that would start hampering your day-to-day work, and that we call denial of service. So let's be very cognizant about brute force and denial of services as well. Now, ransom changes are extremely difficult to detect because they embed and wait, sit and wait for some triggered action, some triggered activity, which could happen at any some time. They are known to be sitting and waiting and watching, collecting information before it gets activated. So yes, even with the known very strong antivirus, anti-malware softwares, ransomware is kind of very hard to detect. They use this. Sorry.
Go ahead. Let me interject for a second over here. How many people shop at Target? And if you shop at Target almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you must have received something in communication from Target that your credit card is breached, or we will give you services for ABC. Does anybody remember that? You can put it in the chat. Okay. Do you know what actually happened at Target? Target had all their bells and whistles and security and everything in place, and they had no loose ends anywhere. Target, like many other vendors, has contractors perform a lot of work for them. So one of their HVAC contractor had a dedicated line coming in, which is called a VPN. So when you start from one place and when you go and shake hands to the other place, they see, oh, you're coming from this place, you are a known customer, you can come in or you can go through this fast lane. So one of the contractor's machine, uh, somebody tried to go to some website, they must have typed it incorrect or whatever the case may be, and that was a malicious site. That malicious site already downloaded the initial stuff onto the PC. Somebody didn't use it, and then it stayed there. After a day or two, when people started using it, that malicious software started monitoring where all of this was going and had an ability to send that information out to what is called as a command and control. whoever was controlling this machine. So after hours, when the contractor was not there or nobody was in the office, this hackers had an ability to restart the machine, go in and look at everything where the vendors, where this contractor was going, and that is how they entered into Target because they came through a contractor's machine, and the contractor's address, IP address, was a known address, and it was done over a period of time. On this continued for a period of, this is a guesstimate, between 3 to 6 months time, because that is how all of these people could go and they could figure out that there was a loose end at the credit card swipe terminal, and they tested and did the test run just before Thanksgiving and Black Friday. What happens on Black Friday? Entire America goes for shopping. You see the credit cards getting swiped left, right, and center. On those days, you see your credit cards are getting approved immediately. Guess what happened? Every time somebody shopped during that period at Target and the credit card got swiped, before you reached home, your credit card was available in the dark side for a price. And this is where it is difficult to detect malware, ransomware. So a lot of things that you need to do. You should not have dedicated connections sitting over there without doing a two-factor authentication, without changing certain things, without changing passphrases, without asking for additional credentials. Don't leave your machines logged in with your email, your other things open. Try to protect and encrypt everything that you have. Harry, on to you. Please continue.
Right, thank you. I think I have a question here. The question is, how long does it usually take to detect a breach? So if you have a right system in place, if you have right software tools in place, and you are very agnostic about your data and day-to-day operations, it will be very easy to detect anything which is out of the ordinary within 1 to 4 hours. Uh, and but that also gives an opportunity to also prevent to have anything further infiltration into our system as well. Now, to protect and take a control in case of ransomware, it sometimes could take 3 to 72 hours. Might sometimes it could take a little longer as well, depending upon how complicated or what version of program or any ransomware is being already part and parcel of the system. Hopefully, I answered your question. Coming back to the presentation, ransomware attacks are difficult as we were describing, and ransomware can propagate itself through the network. It can also propagate itself through your social media accounts, and also we should be very respectful about our social media presence and all the posting that we provide. We are not trying to say that we should not be part of the social media, but just be cautious about what information has been sent out. So suspicious network communication, right? So now that if you take it, meanwhile, I'll work on my microphone, please.
So how does a suspicious network communication cause? Just to kind of walk you through, you can see where the command and control server is and how they stack up and do other stuff. Okay. Hang on a sec. Your regular traffic is coming one way. There is a stocked buffer. So all of the people you see on the left-hand side come in and connect over here. There is something that is sitting over here, which has the command and control. This is how your traffic gets directed to other places. And this is where things go towards the dark side. You may be thinking that it is going to the right side, but your identity may be compromised. The most common methods of ransomware is based on a managed service report that we got. It starts primarily with spam and phishing emails, lack of cybersecurity, not having checks and balances in place, weak password management, poor hygiene, um, business practices in hygiene, keeping things written down and sticking the password onto your monitor or under your keyboard desk, or keeping the password very simple, trying to visit a lot of malicious sites and a lot of other things. This is one of the main concerns that we see that is happening. It almost accounts for 95% spam, phishing emails, and lack of cybersecurity stuff is already there. Okay. With that, I will hand it over to Harry. Harry.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Nalan. Well, feel free to ask us question over the chat. We will possibly address it as soon as possible. Signs of ransomware. So before you suddenly start seeing there are some file activities. You are aware of your Word documents. You're aware of Excel files. You're aware of your QuickBooks. You are very aware of your email communication. If you start noticing something which is not the way it should be, start looking out for your computer getting super hot. It is very slow. It is constantly spinning for providing you information about what you're asking for. And these are the basic signs. I mean, you could say, oh, my machine is kind of a little old, or my internet is kind of a little slow. Yes, everything aggregates to something which is not okay, like going to a doctor, right? We want to make sure that everything is running well. Just do all basic checkup, make sure everything is okay, right? And if you suddenly start seeing your Wi-Fi is slow, it's choppy, right? If you have cameras at home overlooking the door or overlooking the corridor of your offices, make sure you do not put any of your information that where is your location. We desperately respect people that let's not make possibility that your cameras are hacked. Now they can also identify who is coming in, who is going out, and at what time frame. So let's please make sure your accessibility or visual contact to your office or your home is also been safe and not compromised as well. So now let's going back to the next screen, please.
Okay. So anomalies in a file system. So you will try and, if you look at it in detail, what would happen is uh, Windows will have its own file system, which will be done in a specific way. When the hackers try to hack in and put in the malware and other stuff, this is what it will try to do. It will create something, it will rename your files to something else, it will lock them. And this is when they lock them, they will come to you and say, Mr. Customer, I have you locked in. If you need the key to the domain, if you need the key to the castle, you have to pay me money. And the money that you're going to pay me, you're going to pay me in Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is about $30,000 to $35,000 today. So, depending upon what it is, people are going to ask for the ransomware. One of the meat plants which got hacked several months ago, last month, JBS Meat Packers, they paid $11 million or $14 million to the hacker. One of the pipelines that got hacked, that pipeline paid several million dollars. Our agencies were uh, intelligent enough to go and track where this was paid and how they could track it so they could take some of the money back. For an average business owner, this may not be possible as to who to go and what to go, but there are resources that you can avail yourself to keep your business continuity, to protect your intellectual property, and to protect your personal information. Okay, this is again a uh, enhanced this thing of the previous screen, where it'll give you the date and time of how all of these things are taken and it is getting locked in. This is also on, many people must have done this many times. When you press Control Alternate Delete, there is a screen that will come up which is called as a task manager. This is another way for you to look at it as to what are the areas which is consuming the most memory and the most hard drive. This is something that shows something that is unusual working in the background. It should not be consuming almost 100% of your memory. These are all the signs that you can think of that you are getting, you are hacked, or there is some malicious activity going on in the background. Any other questions at this time? If you want to put something in the Q&A. Anybody have any inputs?
I have a question, because
Yes.
I've been hacked. I was part of an international scam, all this stuff. But I talked to my nephew, he's pretty good with computers, and he says just to destroy things, because what I'd have to do sometimes to get rid of it, he's like, just destroy it and get a new one, like a new laptop. He doesn't even want my old laptop, because it's happened to me so many times. I've got stuff sitting everywhere, and I'm
So,
like, can't you clean it off? Can't you do anything? And I don't
so
know.
the answer is yes. It only solves 50% of the issue. When you destroy your hardware, hardware is a platform where you perform your operation. The things are going to be in the email, your passwords, and other areas. So let's say you go and get a new computer and you prep up everything with all the stuff. Now you're going to log into your email with the old password that you had. And if you're not going to take steps to have two keys, one regular key and one deadbolt, which is two-factor authentication, if you're not going to have hygiene to change your passwords every 30 days, if you are somebody who is, what do you, anything that you see you want to click, these are all the things that will lead you towards getting some malicious stuff onto the computer and then having people doing this stuff. Okay?
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. So because you can go right back into the same situation if you don't do the maintenance, the
correct,
software,
correct, correct.
software. Okay, okay.
So, uh, hold on. Good. Anybody else have any feedback? Any other question? Okay. This is what it will look like. See, it increases CPU and this activity, but there's nothing else going on, which is a big thing that you want to look at it. There are different types of ransomware, like there are different kinds of foods. So this is becoming a garden variety industry for everybody. And there is a difference between a hacker and a genius. That is the fine line. I keep on telling that, you know what? All of this intelligence that exists over here, they should all be recruited and brought to the other side so they can prepare our nation as to what are the challenges and how we can protect ourselves. But that is just my view. Uh, the different kinds of ransomware that exist, I'll name a few, which is mobile ransomware, locker ransomware, crypto ransomware, depending upon the type of things that will come along. Okay. Uh, Chakeo, this is where SBDC will come in. Anybody that has a business will have an opportunity to register with SBDC. There is free consultation that can be provided. Any small business that is out there today, which is accepting credit cards, which is accepting some form of payment, You are in a regulated industry. A merchant services where you accept a credit card becomes the PCI compliance. If there is a hack at your place, you are responsible for that breach. You will need insurances. Your general liability insurance is not going to carry and do the coverage. You're going to require cyber insurance, and you will have a list of questionnaires that you will have to answer. You also, SBDC also offers where there can be cyber assessments and health assessments that can be done. Uh, get your cyber insurance in place. You should always have a business continuity plan. What does it mean? Let's say you started the business today. God forbid, one of your key employees got hit by a truck. Are you going to shut down my business? They ran into an accident. You always have a contingency plan. Similarly, in the digital world, if you're doing anything, you should always have a contingency plan to make sure that these things continue. Okay? We can also show you how the phishing simulation attack can be done. We also have self-assessment tools that can be given. These are all the things that you need to prepare yourself. If you remember, uh, let's say you at your home, if you have a security company come in and put a security alarm, what they will do, they will send somebody to come to your place. They will do a walkthrough with you. They will figure out all the areas and then they will come and say, let's put sensors on this 14 windows, 4 doors, uh, your garage, and this, and then we will put a monitoring pad. Okay? Why do they want to do? They want to make sure that if anything happens within this 14 windows and doors and garage or whatever the case may be, and if anything is open and if the security alarm is on, it will automatically send a notification. Notification can happen either silently or with alarm. Similarly, there are tools that will help you to look at things which will be for self-assessment tool, liability assessment tool, which every business should look into and protect themselves. Uh, the liability assessment tool I highly recommend for two reasons. Before you get your cyber insurance, get your ducks in a row because you will have at least a 4 to 8 page questionnaire that you will have to answer. If your questions and answers are not coherent and compliant to the industry, guess what's going to happen? Your insurance rate is going to shoot through the roof and you may or may not get the coverage. Okay? Couple of other regulatory industries. If you're an insurance company, if you are a mortgage company, if you are somebody who is providing any kind of data services, if you are working in multi-state, you have an office in New Jersey, you have an office in New York, you have an office in Connecticut, and you have an office in Delaware. Each state has a different regulation that you have to follow, and you have to comply with that. Okay? GDPR is something if you are working with different countries. Let's say you have a office here, office in Canada, and office in two parts of Europe. GDPR requests that the data originating from that will have to be saved in that country itself. HIPAA is for anybody who is in the doctor's office. They have to be HIPAA compliant, PCI compliant. Any merchant services is PCI compliant. And this is the NIST standard and the framework under which all the things are continued. What are the other things that are required? All of this is required, BitLocker compliance regulation, and which are the offices that are the most honeypots. It starts with school districts, it starts with colleges, then it goes to law firms, accountants, insurance providers, because this is where they can find social security information and personally identifiable information by which things can happen. I will, without giving any names, I will share one of a classic example. Uh, there was a nurse practitioner. Uh, she worked in one of the large hospital, and she had an excellent credit. Just around COVID, she thought of during COVID time, she thought of buying a new car. She went to the car dealership. She looked at the car. The car dealer did not give him the car. Uh, she didn't know why. She started looking into it and started figuring out. 2 months later, she found out her identity was already breached, and there were summons, judgments, and about $600,000 worth of debt that was created under her identity. She is fighting and working with the authorities to clean it up. So it is your responsibility. The law works differently. You have to go and prove yourself. You're not the criminal. You didn't create this. You are who you say you are, and go ahead and fix it. Uh, we went over the doctor's offices, health information, personally identified, PCI for credit cards, Venmo, shared payment services, any of that stuff. Any other questions anybody has? This is a very cold group.
I want to ask, what's the very first step you would recommend taking? I mean, I had an international scam, had to close down my bank. It's all personal. And then I had to report it to the police. And then that's it. Nobody does anything. And everything I know you're saying is true. What do you recommend the first step to take in this process?
Uh, Anything that you do will start with sitting down and deciding what you want to accomplish. After you decide what you want to accomplish, have the right resources and right tools for your business. Right resources and right tools does not give you the ability, it gives you a platform to protect, but then you have to follow the footsteps. Two-factor authentication, having a systematic change of passwords every 30 days, not writing the passwords, uh, and keeping it on your computer monitor screen or on your desk or behind the keyboard, keeping it somewhere safe. If there is any identifiable information that you have, we recommend highly, you should encrypt it. What it means in a layman's term, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a piece of paper on which you have written something. If you take a marker and if you put it across it, you can't see anything. It is redacted. Similarly, what you do is whenever you have important information, you encrypt it. So in an event, if something gets hacked, they can only look at a black page. They can't look at anything else. You are the only one that will have the decrypting key, so you can decrypt it, whether it could be another way of authenticating it, or you can have something else. But this is what we would recommend that you should do. And last but not the least, backup. And make sure you don't back up and keep it on the same computer. You back it up and keep it at a different place, which will make your things much more easily. Okay?
Hope you guys can hear me well. I switched my microphone to a different one, so hope this is a little more clearer. Now, to answer the question in a little bit different would be if you're already hacked, and if the question is to say that what I'm already hacked, what should be the next step? then the first and foremost step would be to report to all credit agencies, establish a lock on your credit history. I'd inform that, hey, this is what's happening, and your identity has been compromised. If you have something like LifeLock or other application, you now you have an opportunity to inform the breach and asking for a reimbursement for whatever happened to bring your life and your business back to operation. Backup should be restored and should be checked properly. You definitely reach out to the governing authorities like police or FBI and do inform them. If in case they can't help you out, but they'll be help out other citizens of the country, and somebody else will get help by informing what happened to you. They may not be able to help you out right away, but overall as a group, it will be a great help. So please inform authorities, please inform FBI about the breach. And I think just start locking, putting one lock at a time and opening one key with one key at a time, in whichever way your data is or your identity has been hacked. So hope that's answered that question.
Does anybody have any other additional questions? Takeo, you want to take it over and share about the SBDC and how somebody can contact?
Yes, so thank you so much, Nalit, and to Harry as well for sharing your expertise with us today. It was very helpful. So if you give me one moment, I'll just go ahead and share my screen with our contact information. Okay, hopefully everyone is seeing my screen at this time. So on the screen here, you'll see our phone number, our email address, and as well as our website to request one-on-one consultation. So if you are located in Essex County and you're interested in that one-on-one consultation with Nalit, you can either feel free to click on that raise hand button here on Zoom, and I'll take note of your name and create that appointment for you. Or you can go ahead and just send us an email or give us a call, or directly go to the website and request counseling that way as well. And we will go ahead and set that appointment up with you and Nalit so that he can help you out with your cybersecurity needs as well. Okay, great. So at this time, if everyone give me one moment, I'm going to go ahead and paste some of our upcoming webinars and events in the chat, so everyone has a chance there to view it. Okay, so if you are in Ocean County, I can also send you an email with your local SBDC information as well, if that'll be helpful. Okay, so there in the chat, we do have our upcoming events, our webinars. I also do have the direct link to request one-on-one business counseling. And on the bottom there, I have our link to actually view all of our webinars and workshops that we are holding for this whole year. Directly after this webinar is our techniques to establish business credit, which is another one of our free webinars. So if you're interested in that webinar, the link to that is the first event in the chat there. And that webinar will start today at 3 p.m. directly after this one has ended.
Are we doing a survey for these people, or we are not?
Yes, we will be doing a survey. I'm going to announce that in just a moment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
And we are also hosting our Virtual Women Entrepreneurs Network Tea and Talk on July 15th. Now, this event allows you to meet role models and businesses and make contact with professional career women who are power brokers in their private or public professional sectors, as well as network with some other women of like minds with the same aspirations for success through entrepreneurship. So if this is an event that you're interested in, the link to that will be also the second webinar link in the chat that I just posted as well. And if it does help, I do suggest that you copy these links or save the chat so that you have all of this information once the webinar has ended. After this webinar has ended in the browser, you will see a survey pop up. Now that survey will help us to adjust our presentations in the future, as well as give us a little bit of information about your business and the help and the assistance you may be needing. So if you have just some time to complete that, it should only take a minute or two. Your feedback is very much appreciated. And these webinars listed are all available on our website, www.rnsbdc.com. And this year we are hosting many other webinars and topics such as financing, access to capital, COVID disaster loans, marketing, branding, e-commerce, credit counseling, and so much more. So again, you can sign up for these webinars and workshops via our website or our Eventbrite link, which is also in the chat. I do want to remind you all that after this webinar has ended, within 48 to 72 hours, you will be receiving the video replay as well as the slides so that you can refer back to this information long after the webinar has ended. And on that note, we will now end this webinar. I want to say thank you to our presenters, Nalit and Harry, for sharing your expertise with us, and thank you for your time. And also a huge thank you to our participants today, our attendees, for taking the time out today and participating in our webinar. And we look forward to seeing you all at our future webinars and workshops. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Takeo, and thank you all the participants. Stay safe, stay healthy, and protect yourself.
Thank you, Nalit. You too. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.